We know MLK, we know Malcolm X, we know Rosa Parks, and we know the iconic Shirley Chisholm. But who are some of the unsung Black heroes that we know nothing about? Well, join me this Black History Month as we walk through 28 days learning about 28 who should be iconic but are unsung Black heroes. Hi everyone, I'm QuentinRJiles, your host of the Q with Q, and welcome to another episode of Unsung Black Heroes. Every day this month, I'm going to introduce heroes who have influenced not only the African American community, but the world at large. Today, we will show the life of the inventor and first African American employed at the Smithsonian Institution, Solomon Brown. We will talk about what he did, and at the end of this video, we will discuss how it relates to us today. So let's get educated. Solomon Gallion Brown was born on Valentine's Day in 1829 in Washington, D.C. to Isaac and Rachel Brown. Although his parents were slaves, Brown was born a free man. At a young age, his family was left impoverished and in debt due to his father's death, and as such, he was unable to receive a formal education because he had to work to help to make ends meet. At age 15, he worked as postmaster assistant, where he would be tasked with assisting Joseph Henry, Alfred Vail, and Samuel B. Morse, who invented and demonstrated the electric telegraph, or Morse telegraph. Once Morse created his telegraph company, Brown left the post office to work as a battery tender. He worked there for 7 years and went on to work in the chemical lab at Gilman and Brothers. Now, Brown found both a friend and mentor in his previous boss, assistant postmaster Lambert Tree. Tree helped Solomon obtain his certificate of freedom by swearing in front of the justice of the peace that Brown had always been free. By 1852, he became the first secretary and only Black person to be employed at the Smithsonian Institution. 12 years later, he had moved up to the museum assistant and then became the registrar in charge of transportation and animal specimens and materials. Now, after Joseph Henry became the secretary of the Smithsonian Institute, Brown was first hired as a general laborer. He faced much ridicule and discrimination by his employer. Henry believed that African Americans were incompetent and had not yet evolved beyond a childlike status and advocated for their removal from the nation as he did not believe in slavery. What? The Smithsonian's Board of Regents was also hostile to African Americans and consisted of members such as Jefferson Davis, the future president of the Confederacy, and Justice Roger Taney, who gave the key opinion in the Dred Scott case that regulated African Americans to slavery. Now, despite these circumstances, Solomon Brown overcame and was able to excel and hold multiple roles at the Smithsonian. Because that's what Black people do. We rise. He developed relationships with the assistant secretary, Spencer Beard. They wrote letters to one another to stay up on what was going on. Brown also acted as an informant to Beard, as the collections at the Smithsonian were not funded by Henry. He helped to collect and keep artifacts that otherwise would have been thrown out. Baird returned the favor by advocating for Brown when he asked for a pay increase due to the rising cost of living in 1864 and his recent marriage to his wife, Lucinda. Child, the cost of living still rising. You mean we've been dealing with this? As such, Brown became a trusted leader within the African American community in D.C. and a key advocate and resource for other African Americans who came to work at the Smithsonian. By 1866, he was supervising the black workforce. Once his friend Spencer became the patron of the Smithsonian, Brown was able to breathe and utilize the resources and knowledge obtained to elevate his status and began a career as a lecturer, speaking on the scientific advances of the day. He had become both a poet, poetry snaps, and a prominent, well-known figure whose work was featured in Black society papers. Unfortunately, after his close friend Spencer Baird passed in 1887, he was demoted by the new secretary, Samuel P. Langley, and his salary was reduced to $50 a month. With mounting debts that he couldn't afford to pay, Brown was forced to work at the Smithsonian for another 16 years. He left in February 1906 and died less than 4 months later. Much like today, Solomon faced many obstacles that he had to overcome in the workplace and was reminded at every turn of his racial status, especially in the end. But he was still able to use his lemons he was given and made some good old lemonade. Stay tuned for more Unsung Black Heroes. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new, subscribe for more, and hit that bell notification so you are always first in the queue. That's going really slow. For beard, Baird. Galleon. All right. And has reminded and was give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new. Oh, my notifications move, it's in the way. At a young age, his family was left impoverished and in debt. At a young age,